All right, Cauley, prison abolition, this is a terrible idea, terrible idea. How exactly would we punish offenders and those who commit crimes if we don't have a system of incarceration?
Well, she's just the gift that keeps on giving. Apparently, she was asleep when we passed criminal justice reform, which passed on a bipartisan basis, by the way. Heritage was very much behind it, along with the ACLU and others. Look, the fact is that we're not going to abolish prisons. The federal government can't pass a law telling states to abolish prisons, period. So she has to understand federalism, which apparently she doesn't get. But secondly, we're talking about, as you mentioned, 55% of people in state prisons are there for violent felonies. So we're talking about 182,000 murderers she wants to let on the streets, 164,000 rapists, 168,000 burglars. And as to the marijuana fantasy that she has, this mass incarceration movement should really be called the mass hysteria movement, because it's hysterical that they think that we're all stupid enough to buy it. Less than 1/10% of people in state prison are there for simple possession of marijuana, and the amount they had in their possession was 114 pounds, enough for 200,000 marijuana cigarettes. So clearly, they were distributors, and they just bargained it down to simple possession.
Right. And I mean, when you paint that picture of reality, it makes her next tweet seem even more insane. This is what she said. She's like, in general, prison abolitionists favor abolishing prisons and other systems of punishment, replacing them with, quote, restorative justice and social welfare programs meant to target the root causes of crime. Is she talking about giving food stamps to MS-13 members, and she thinks that's going to stop them from beheading people?
Or the Sandy Hook or other school shooters, they're not supposed to be in jail. The Wall Street bad guys and gals, the few that are out there that get jail sentences, I think she's going to have a problem with Elizabeth Warren, who thinks that those people should be going to jail. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, the mastermind on 9/11, who's at Gitmo, I think her New York constituency won't be too happy when she wants to let him out of the jail. So it's just silly. It's naive. Conservatives aren't freaking out about this. She's the gift that keeps on giving. It's a joke. It's a total joke. And the criminal justice reform that happened this last cycle in Congress, which was comprehensive and massive, she should actually read it. It talks about alternatives to incarceration, like drug court, where I used to work as a prosecutor. We have been doing this for years. Perhaps she should do more than be a bartender before she came to Congress, because she would know that this evolved. The peak incarceration in our country was 10 years ago. We've been on the decline in incarceration for 10 years. She apparently missed that.
Right. And listen, I don't care what somebody's job is or what they did before they went to college. What I do care about is educating themselves on the issues now. And I would just love to see AOC, if she really wanted to put a policy like this into practice, to abolish prisons and let all these violent criminals out on the streets, I'd love to see her look into the eyes of a victim who has been raped, who has been kidnapped, who had been assaulted, who had been, the victim of an armed robbery, and tell them that they're going to be safe, even though the person who committed the crime against them violated their fundamental human rights, their constitutional rights, is going to be freed from prison, and as a reward, instead of a punishment, given more government welfare benefits. I'd love to see her try to explain it like